365. Good evening, everybody. Or not evening, sorry. Good morning. That's what happens when you've been up all night looking at markets. Guys, good morning, good morning, good morning. Once a week, I do try and spend most of my night time tracking the Asian markets. It's not something I do all the time. But yeah, it's been one of those, all-nighters, and I am now moving into the day. Right, guys, today's a big day for CAD, right? CAD. There's a couple of things that are going to be happening that I would like to obviously, share with you. But otherwise, before we do that, maybe just do a quick market recap of the stuff we discussed on Sunday and some of the videos we got to put out, more recently, right? So let's quickly go to the dollar index first of all. So I did do a video for you guys. I think it was yesterday, right? I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. Where I was telling you that CPI data is coming out, and I thought, look, man, let me first teach on CPI, explain what it is. And I suggest you watch it, because if you haven't watched this video of FX fundamentals for the week CPI, right? And I did, give a nugget on the Bank of Canada, which is what today's video is really about, right? But if you haven't seen the CPI data video, you must watch it, only because it's a prominent thing in the market, right? It happens a lot of times, right? And it's the hottest topic in the markets for financial institutions, because they are tracking inflation, right? They're tracking the use value of inflation. Is inflation transitory? Is it here to stay? Is America going to get hyperinflation, right? And the CPI data yesterday was extremely bullish, man. I mean, if you have a look at Forex Factory here, you can see that this is what happened, right? It like overshot. The focus was 0.05. This thing went all the way up, right? So there's definitely, rise in prices, therefore inflation, etc., which is all part of the long-term dollar bull thesis, right? Okay, I keep talking about this because it's a market theme, and we can't ignore market theme. So let's go back to the daily time frame on the dollar index. Hey, if you're watching this live, talk to me. Hope you guys are well. I didn't think anyone would be around live. Shake my hand, Caleb. What's up, buddy? What's up, man? Hope you're good. Shake my hand, man. Cool. Someone is here. Fantastic. Right. So if you go back to the dollar index, right? We've been speaking about this, and the reason why we keep coming back to this is because it's still the main thing, right? So on the 16th of June, FOMC spoke. On the 16th of June, FOMC almost said, look, man, there's going to be, incredible interest rates coming up, blah, 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 because of this type of situation. And now CPI data yesterday, 2 p.m., confirmed all of this stuff. Now, in this video that I did for you guys yesterday, explaining how CPI works, I explained, and accurately, by the way, the very nature of what that news is going to do. Let's go to actually a chart that has all my notes in it. My notes gone. Okay, there we go, because I was teaching a bit on this chart last night, right? So this is what we had, right? So in the war room on Sunday, let me show you what it looked like on Sunday. On Sunday, we be doing, signals, or I hate the term signals, but we host our traders war room every Sunday live on the YouTube channel at 4:30 p.m. SAT time. So you're welcome to check that out. But on Sunday, this is what the dollar index looked like, right? This is how markets closed on Friday. I explained to you that last week, Wednesday, I did a video and I said I'm selling because markets arrived at an area of value where supply exceeds demand, right? And it's kind of like we are supply and demand traders at 365, right? So this was an easy sell for us, but I explained all of this before, right? It's one of these videos here. I don't know, somewhere here, the FOMC meeting tonight. And I explained to you why I sell, and I took the sell live there, right? And then price came down to an expected demand. And then I spoke about selling here on Monday, right? So if markets were to open there on Monday, I would add a second sell position while locking profits on the sell position there. And that pretty much happened on the Monday, right? So markets open on Monday. The London session just pretty much just gave us one big green candle that triggered my supply. Right, and I've just been, there we go, see, triggered that supply, and then price naturally dropped. And the next day was yesterday, where CPI data came out. And in yesterday's video, I said, look, guys, I personally want short-term dollar bearishness. That's what I want in the markets. But if CPI comes out positive, please best believe it's going to be an incredibly strong thing for the dollar, right? And CPI came back, positive at 2 p.m. yesterday, and then boom, markets broke through. So this sell here, sell 2, I took profits. Sell 1 was locked above there. I was kicked out, as you can see for yourself, with some profits, but I was kicked out of the index. And then I'm back to my original thesis of selling here at a dollar supply. So I want to see how long this sell is going to take, because the way we trade, we look at our areas of value and how much money is in there. All right, so that's just a quick recap. If you want the rest of the signals, once again, it's all of them are in here, right? So the stuff that we're looking at, for the rest of the week, or it's in this thing that we did on Sunday. But this is that. So I want to talk about a couple of things happening today and still that are going to impact the week. We call this a deadly week in the Forex market, right? Retail traders who have no idea what they're doing, I generally advise to stay away, right? Because these events create high volatility, right? And they have the tendency to create a market. Now, I want this to be a short video, but I don't want to rob you, right? I don't want to rob you. If you're here to learn, let's do some teaching. I just said these events have the tendency to create a market. If I want to buy as a bank, I want to push price up. If I want to push price up as a bank because I want to buy, I have to create something somewhere down here that is going to allow the average millions of retail sellers to sell. Remember, if I want to buy something, it means someone is selling it to me. If I want to sell something, it's because I believe I want to buy it, right? So these events have the tendency to do two things, right? News events, yes, on some level, they do represent fundamental analysis. They do represent intrinsic value of an asset, of a dollar, of the pound, of the CAD. But on many moments, they simply create volatility to create a market, right? We have to be careful about this kind of stuff, guys. Banks cannot change their positions overnight, right? Banks are positional traders. In 365, we teach people how to trade like the banks. These guys are positional traders. They are long-term. Let me show you what I mean by this. So we track data like this, and this is part of our module 3 that's going to come out now, teaching people how to read this stuff carefully, right? So I've been waiting for the COT report for this week. It has not come out. So we're still working off last week, Tuesday's data, right? And you can see these guys really put in massive long positions and sell at the same time short positions. And you have to determine based on this type of data and what you're reading in the charts, what they're actually planning to do, all right? But the bigger point is market data, market news, most of the time is there to create a market. So if I want to buy, I'll have to create a market, right, of sellers. So retail traders, their signals, their indicators, their Forex gurus, their mentors will all be trying to sell something they don't understand, only to create a market for them to buy from you. All right. So just be very mindful of this kind of stuff. All right. So with that being said and done, let's go back now to the actual thing that I want to discuss. So CPI is done and dusted, but it's interesting because now that America has got that confirmation, right, that there is interest, right, and inflation, so there is a lot of inflation. Today, Powell is now going to start his testimony, right? He's testifying. I think he's going to testify to 2 committees in Congress, the banking sector and the finance sector. And this is happening straight after the confirmation of inflation, right? So I might need to start changing my thesis on the dollar. We shall see. Right now, I'm in a short-term sell. I have no problem holding it all the way down there. If you follow what I've been saying for the last 2 to 3 weeks, I really want this $92 mark broken. I really want to see some short-term dollar bearishness. I really want to see price come all the way down to the last FOMC meeting, right? There's a crazy amount of demand here, right? That was created by a strong dollar. And I would love to be a part of that move, right? I might not get what I want, right? Because at the end of the day, what Leroy wants and what the trader in me have to do sometimes are not the same things. The trader in me must trade what I see. But yes, price came back to a daily supply. We like that at the Academy. We know that a fresh touch will give us a short move. A retest, however, can start to really move. So I'll be looking very carefully at this. If my DXY is weak, it's going to ripple effect, right, across all USD pairs that we discussed on Sunday. But today, Powell is talking, so we'll see how markets respond to Powell. Unfortunately, I can't cover this live for you as well because I will be teaching. Tonight, I've got my module 2s as usual. Yo, Samuel, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah, we need a reunion. You guys need a reunion. See the 365 Kenyan teams trying to hook up there, right? So that's what's going on here today. But this is what this video today is about. CAD. We've got monetary policy on CAD. We've got the Bank of Canada statement on CAD. We've got a press conference afterwards where the CAD governor, Reserve Bank governor, will be answering some questions. And depending on what he says in these three, in the report, in the statement, and in the answering of the questions, markets are going to pick up what is known as a sentiment, right? There's going to be some sentimental analysis that needs to happen today. And at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., I'm completely booked out. So I just want to quickly do this with you right now. So what I'm going to do now is just teach on a couple of things. If those of you watching this stuff, if the news is hawkish, right? If they are excited about CAD, if they think that the economy is doing well, hawkish means the CAD dollar will strengthen, right? If it's hawkish, if it's dovish, you're going to have problems. CAD is going to weaken, right? But we don't know what they're going to say. It's not one of those news events where you can work with some statistical data. It's above a forecast. It's strong, it's below, etc. It's literally listening, right, to the language, the financial language these guys are going to use, and just sitting through these events, which unfortunately I can't cover. What I want to do though is look at a couple of charts. When there are news events, ladies and gentlemen, when you have a deadly week like this, you must be prepared for anything, right? You must be prepared for how markets are going to move. So you must have a scenario where if CAD is hawkish, what does this mean? If CAD is dovish, what does this mean? You must have your chart levels marked up, all right? And then, you start to then prepare yourself to trade what you see. So I've got 5 CAD pairs that I want to talk to you guys about. Generally speaking, that is where my focus and my level of attention will be on the CAD. I will not be looking at anything more than 5 pairs. So fundamentally, pound CAD, AUDCAD, USDCAD, NZDCAD, and EURCAD. Now, before I go into even a single CAD pair, I don't know if a lot of people, I hope a lot of people know about this, right? Canada is very much an oil reliant. You see, I've got this already written here, CAD, right? I think I was teaching on this chart, and everything that we've said about oil has worked out. We had an oil video on YouTube a long time ago. We gave people some entry setups a long time ago. Some of those swing trades have actually taken profit. I am now waiting for this thing to drop. I would love it to drop because oil is extremely bullish for a very long time, right? So what we've done with oil is we've removed a governing supply, a very powerful supply. And once we do that, we know that the big institutions slowly but surely are preparing for a big move. But it doesn't necessarily happen overnight, all right? So a big move, guys, would require most likely, or what we would want to see in the academy is this first. Would want to see some type of downward turn, and then we can then start to talk about, flying to $100 per barrel, which has been the plan for years. Oil is finally back to where it needs to be, right? You remember that crude oil, Brent oil, all these oils were literally on their way last year, December 2020, until COVID happened, right? And then oil just plummeted literally to the negatives last year, 2020. So we've finally done a full recovery of what was lost last year. And now these guys are hoping to push this thing up. So this is what I want to see in oil, right? In the long term. So in the next financial quarter, so in the next 2 to 3 months, I'd love to see a drop to the downside and then a buy up there. But I might not get that, right? Because I don't control the market. So I have to trade what I see. I do know that there's no supply there. Right, and why this is important is if oil is doing well, the CAD will strengthen. If oil is doing well, CAD will do extremely well, all right, because of the relationship between CAD and oil, right? So it's very important to kind of like check this out. So I can see oil did try and fall, but unfortunately, it still looks extremely bullish to me, right? So it still looks extremely bullish. Anything can happen at this point on the daily time frame, right? Anything. Markets could react to these levels here and then drop, right? Hopefully they've already exhausted, some demand there. There are many places for this thing to stop, right? So a higher time frame would aid us to kind of like look at the next stopping point as maybe somewhere there, right? So that would be, I guess, a little bit better for some of us who are interested in particularly capitalizing on oil. Well, I can't buy it where it is right now. It's just way too high where it is right now. I would love to see a drop in oil for me to get into a big swing, but I run the risk of missing out, right? I run the risk of missing out on the move. But for me, and the academy, generally speaking, we know that there'll be many opportunities, for the rest of our lives. So we'll not risk capital. Capital is life, right? So we preserve capital, at all costs. But this is the first weekly, setup that we're starting to see in this oil chart here that could allow, for a beautiful drop here. And I'm going to quickly move to the CAD pairs. I don't intend on this video being, longer than it needs to be. I'm sure everyone's got, wants to get on with the day. Look at me. I can't even find what's happened to my setup here. I'm looking for. Oh, I chose a random thing. That's right. There we go. So I'll draw a Fibonacci from there to there. All right. You can see my golden ratios on top of that candle. I'll just make this big for you. You can see my golden ratio is right on top of this. This whole area here is my golden ratio. This whole area here. Let me just do this. So if I do something like that, maybe you can see that a little bit better, right? So there could be a valid retracement into that area there. If I just flip back to the daily time frame, now I'm looking for a good strong demand. Yeah, I could find some activity down there, right? So oil is a waiting game, but for now we are bullish, right? In a supply, so in a broken supply rather, right? But this is not really the best time to buy. All right, when you see a setup like this, a bearish engulfing pattern, it's not always the wisest decision to buy. You could be falling for a bear trap here, so I'll leave it, right? So now let's go to CAD. So now that we know that oil is doing well, I can look at the CAD index real quick. CAD index will just measure the strength of the currency, the Canadian, Canadian dollar index currency. And if you look carefully, most of these CADs, right, are at significant supplies. I found that quite interesting this morning, when I was just preparing some trade ideas for myself, that most of these CAD pairs, but they have heavily exhausted the supplies, number one. Number two, they've also made sure buying power is not too far behind. And this makes sense with our thesis on what we've just done right now with oil. But we've just said, look, man, oil is looking very strong. I'm going to get to, okay, I can add CAD JPY. I can see someone there. CAD JPY, and we took profits on a crazy long, right? I was very long on CAD JPY for a very long time. I'm no longer in that trade, but we can see if there are any opportunities on CAD JPY. Mr. Kinua, right? Good to have you guys here. Right. So on the CX index, the oil is inside a supply or was leaving a supply, right? And left the supply, right? Which is normal. We expect price to drop when it gets in contact with a significant supply. What I don't like about the CAD index is the fact that there are potential adventurous buyers so close, which makes sense if oil is going to pump immediately and CAD is going to strengthen with it, right? It makes sense to see this type of setup here where there are already buyers around the corner. Let's remove this stuff. We don't need this because that level there is broken, right? And if you want to draw trend lines, you're more than welcome to. I don't think there's a need for a trend line in this chart, right? But you can see that the bearish structure on this chart, and this would be a retail trader trend line, by the way. It's not really an institutional trend line. Okay, it's becoming a little bit better. Yeah, okay, so there was some type of negation here of a bearish structure, but price still hit a supply and dropped up until, March 2020 of this year, and then it's just been a strong rally. So this is where we should have been part of this. You should have been part of the strong rally here when CAD was so strong against CAD JPY. This was a beautiful buying opportunity there. But now this is interesting. I find that having a short-term demand there, no matter how weak it might look, having a demand that close to a governing supply, I find that extremely interesting. Number one. Number two, if you look carefully now on the weekly time frame, the supplies have been. Yes, markets have turned, but if you look carefully, when doing our multiple time frame analysis, you can see that supplies have been moved. Now at 365, we withdraw institutional supplies. We don't like to cut across candles. We don't believe. We believe that these order blocks, once money is spent in them, right, there's a problem, right? So you can see this markets pumped and did not stop until both supplies were taken out. And now that we've got a break in market structure, we've got that retracement going down, going down. So it's tricky for us to then start to make, assumptions that we've got a downward trend, right? We are leaving a supply, but markets are quite serious about breaking structure. This is the only supply, I think, at play here, both on the governing time frame and on the weekly time frame. So I'm going to remove all because the other ones down there are broken, right? So I'm not even going to consider them. Okay, cool. So we've got something that looks like this. You can see there was a fresh touch here in 2015 and then price dropped, etc., etc. Then I'm going to remove that as well because it's broken, right? So, and this is where market stopped. So they removed these previous supplies and went for the ultimate top supply, the supply and actual control. And it seems like, they were really gunning for the moon here, right? And after this gets removed, there is nothing stopping price for a very long time on CAD. So again, we are temporarily down on the CAD. I do see some short-term weakness, but overall, I'm very bullish on this thing. Overall, I'm very bullish on this thing. Now, if I'm bullish on CAD overall, but I do acknowledge that there is some short-term weakness. And I think that's another thing that retail traders struggle with, right? Like, understanding the difference between timeframes. How am I bullish overall, but short-term weakness? Like I keep saying, I want to see short-term dollar weakness, but I'm bullish on the dollar overall because the fundamentals keeps talking to a strong dollar, right? But in the short term, it seems to me that hopefully we can get more weakness, in the dollar, right? So yeah, CAD, pound CAD. Trade number one. So this is what I was looking at this morning. I thought I should share this with you guys. So this is what the chart looks like, right? We've got some type of upward compression there. Markets made contact with the supply in 2018. This area here, glass effect, just watch out for that particular thing. And then you got a situation where, markets could drop or go up, right? If you're looking to kind of like really trade a breakout from here to there. This is kind of like the distance you're looking at. So I'm just going to clone this distance, right? This is how you would measure the move. So if markets were to break down, so let's say this thing went up and then came back in there and then eventually started to melt down, would be looking at creating new lows. But if this thing was to break to the upside, right? So break out of the structure, break out of the supply, then you'd be looking to that, right? So which would be, very in line with, with structure. See what I've done there? I've just measured the base of this asymmetric triangle, and you can see, right, there's some type, whether it breaks out here, there, anyway, it'll end up in another supply, right? So that could be the outlook right now. But looking at pound CAD, simply by itself, right? This is where we are here on the governing structure. There's not much. I hardly like trading setups like this, the way there's just so much cluster in them. It's really not my style, where there's so much cluster here, because all the buyers and sellers are doing is they're trying to outcompete each other. In my understanding, markets have left a demand and they're still to make contact with the supply. It's that simple. So the buyers overall generally dominate. You can even see that there's so many green candles. Yes, selling will happen, but the buyers will recover. Selling will happen and and every time buying happens to recover, it beats the last previous months of sales. So it goes a little bit higher, and then sellers took place and now we're waiting for buyers to recover again, right? Because really the direction is from the demand in chart, price upwards. So pound CAD seemingly is pushing price to the upside. And so if CAD weakens today, right, then we can see maybe an even stronger run, right, is essentially what I'm looking for here. But even if that stronger run was to happen, right, inside this compression, I can't just jump in, right? I need to make sure I'm jumping in when price is at a demand. So in front of us here, we've got the makings of a PCP. Why, Leroy? Why would price start to do this 2-3 days just before massive news release? They're about to make up their minds, all right? So structure is ready. So you can see for yourselves, 365 traders, most of you in the live chat there, let me talk to you guys. You can see that you've got a strong daily supply, not strong, but you've got some type of daily supply there. But you can see prices refused to drop, all right? Because there's something big happening today, right? In the last 2-3 days, so Friday, Monday, Tuesday, prices refuse to drop. And if at 4 p.m. South African time, all right, eventually, I don't know, CAD is hawkish or CAD is dovish, then you're going to get the type of reaction that is fitting, right? Either they're going to remove the supply or they're going to use the supply, right? Either they're going to remove the supply or they're going to use the supply. If they use the supply, but even though this looks like a bullish PCP, we can see there's been several rejections, and today, right, at 10 a.m. on a daily time frame, this candle is already this big. What's the rush? This candle still has about, at least 12 hours to keep going, and it's already this humongous, right? So if you check the 4-hour time frames, you're probably going to get engulfment after engulfment. Let's look at this. It's already so big. What's the rush on the daily time frame? And I'm recording this at 10 a.m. South African time, right? So if they use the supply, I would buy down here. I'm not going to trade the news event. I'm just going to let it do what it wants to do. And I'm hoping that the volatility, and the spikes and all that stuff removes the supply, right? So on its way down, it's removed the supply, it's coming down. So at the next time when I get to enter my swing trade buys, there's nothing in the way here, right? And then I've just got this Christmas, right? A clean move to the upside. So that's what I'm looking at, right? If CAD is crazy strong, right? And they're hawkish, yeah, sure. They'll remove the supply. I'm just going to wait for the retracement, right? There's going to have to be a retracement. Even if they get here, then this might turn into a demand if it meets our, supply and demand imbalance rule. So this is what to look out for today with CAD news. So I'm just going to write here, CAD news Wednesday, and then we'll see. So when I come back to my charts tonight or tomorrow, I will now know which direction to go, right? But I will be trading supply and demand. I hope that makes sense. So CAD, CAD JPY, CAD, pound CAD, guys, sorry. See, I need to go to sleep now. Up all night watching the Asian market, right? I'm still doing some research for a couple of things, right? Let's go to the monthly time frame on AUDCAD. So we know that Australia has been very weak. We know that. Let's go to a chart with less notes. Maybe I was teaching on this chart. Let's just go to a clean chart so we can start all over again. Right. So we know that AED has been extremely weak, right? We know that coronavirus got them closing everything, etc., etc. We know that on most AUD pairs, markets have arrived at a supply. We know that because of that, markets are dropping. We predicted this a long time ago. It is happening, right? We're going to see continued AUD weakness, right? And remember what I say, news events create markets. I've just told you AUD is weak. So when on Thursday, at 3 a.m., I'll be sleeping. I'm not even going to be up. I won't even lie to you, right? But it's going to be an employment change, an unemployment change rate, right here. Just because if this goes positive, right, you're going to see AUDCAD rally become strong again. Don't forget what I've told you. They will use data to create a market, right? So there is long-term AUD weakness. It doesn't matter what happens on Thursday. All right, if they want to continue selling, and then you'll see with the stats, guys, the stuff, it becomes clear as day. But let's go back to AUDCAD. So we've got a weak Australian dollar because of, lockdown, closed economies, but really got a weak AUD because prices arrived at an area of value where supply exceeds demand, right? So that's all that's happening there. Keep it simple. Now on AUDCAD, we've got the situation here. This is the chart on AUDCAD. Why did price stop? So I can see that price stopped there. I can see that there. I don't like anything going on in these choppy settings. I don't like anything at all there. Very difficult to read, very difficult to trust. That's barely a supply. I'm just drawing it because price reacted to it. Right. This is what I do know, however, is that market structure was broken here. And I'm happy with that. Right. I'm happy with seeing that there. And because of that, yes, there's some temporary supply there, but really, I know, this chart is trying to get here in the long term, in the long run, because all of this has been compressed now. So I'm not even bothered. And then we've got a problem. We've got a problem because this level here is looking like it's going to be taken out or is taken out right now. That's the only problem with this chart, right? So this will be, the straw that broke the camel, right? Price is really digging deep in here. We did have what seemed to be a bullish engulfing pattern, but it's not doing well, right? And again, AUD is weak, so that makes a lot of sense. And if that's the case, then we're looking at such a movement, right? So most likely, it'll still land on this trend line, right? But this is not the place to be looking for recovery buys. My humble opinion, markets have exhausted this area there. So I'll most likely not trade this thing. If I trade this thing, then I'm looking for sell setups, right? If I trade this thing, I'm most likely looking for sell setups, but I shall see. So markets, let's try and do a better job of showing this thing, right? So on the weekly time frame, you can see that markets are ranging, but they're not just ranging for fun. Man, markets have exhausted. You know, this was the demand that broke the structure. Price came back for a retest. Price has gone up. And if you look carefully, markets are starting to remove these demands, right? If you look carefully, or at least trying to remove, oh no, they've removed it, right? So I'm zooming in, you can see this red candle there has removed completely this demand, right? So this to me, it was a 365 trader, always signals, right? Always signals some type of downward movement. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a strong rally next week here, right, to the upside. I would not be surprised about that. If that happens, I'm happy. I'll sell here with them. If that happens, right? If that happens, then I'll sell, and then I'm looking to stop somewhere here, right? Which is quite a good run, right? So if we get a situation like that, that is an easy 400 pips in the markets, but they could be in a rush, right, and drop price from where it is right now, right, depending on what's going to happen today. So if you look on the daily time frame carefully, you'll see that markets are doing the same thing as pound CAD. Why are markets all ranging a few days before a big event? What's going on? What are they waiting to see, right? Where are retail traders lining up their money, right? Who's watching this stuff carefully, right? So let's remove all of that yellow stuff in the background. It's very difficult to kind of like locate clean levels with all these spikes here, but you can definitely tell there's some consolidation here. If I was to use moving, average volume type of candlesticks, I could then make the argument that there was a turning point somewhere up here, maybe, right? These candlesticks don't show us order blocks, but they do show us the majority of selling and buying, right? You can use a line graph, you'll see the turns even better, right? So you can now see that there's a turning point right somewhere there with the line graph, right? Then I come back to my normal candlesticks. That is not normal at all. Yes, these are normal candlesticks, right? So you can see that there was something there that definitely feels and looks like a supply. You can see there's a strong drop of selling and then price hit there. All right, so this is leaving a supply and markets are now ranging here after leaving a supply, right? Then there's a high potential that this could be, a PCP. Again, simply waiting for the news, but I won't be able to trade this. It hasn't been confirmed. There's just a lot. There's a mess here. I will not be able to trade this at all. What I could do, which would be a high risk trade, is to put a pending order here. I won't do it, but I could do it, right? Put a pending order there, a sell limit order. It just depends on what's going to happen today at 4 p.m. and then hope for these spikes, right? So you can see that this chart likes to spike. So if I get spiked in here for a drop, if that's the direction, right, of what they're going to say today, then we can get that going, right? So that's AUDCAD. I'm looking at something like that. Markets could come back down here, right, and then start to use that as to rally all the way there. I don't know. I don't see it happening, but it could happen, right? USDCAD. This thing gave us that biggest monster sell push of 2020 to 2021 last week. Guys, please don't forget to like the video if it helps you. Let's grow the channel. Please like, please share, subscribe if you haven't already, but definitely like. I do appreciate all of you guys watching the videos, and I do hope that they're helping you, right? It's not like it's a one-way street. So I'm hoping to produce content, that's there to help you. So please make use of the like button. This is USDCAD, and you can see the sell side movement coincides with DXY. So this is like a chart that really mirrors the dollar index, but does more, right? It does more. The dollar index has not yet broken its demand. This one has, right? And this demand had to go. It really had to go. It had done its job, right? It really had to go. Okay, no, actually it hasn't broken the demand. So it's exactly like the DXY. DXY has also not broken its demand. This has not broken its demand. But guys, we've really drained the areas of value here. Thank you, Sano. Sano saying this is gold. Leave Kenyan marketing to me. Blessings, brother. Blessings. Right. Cool. Right. So check this out. So price did arrive at a demand price lift, right? Markets have memories, and our price is starting to try to leave a demand. Fantastic. We're happy for you, USDCAD. Here's the problem. You see that there? Here's the problem. And this right now is that short-term dollar, or at least that bullish dollar outlook, right? FOMC is increasing interest rates. FOMC is trying its best to kind of get ahead of that inflation situation. Interest rates went up, want a strong dollar, etc., etc., etc. And you can see it happening, right? There's some type of recovery. The only problem with this setup, and even if I was to draw area of competition like this, which makes it worse, right? The only problem with this setup here is that markets are slowly but surely, right, arriving at a place where there are a lot of bears in here. A lot of bears, right? A lot of people who would love to continue this downward trend. A lot of people who believe that this is a nice place. So let's draw a fib, guys. Just pull out a classic Fibonacci. Remember, now PCP levels are 38, what, and 23, what, right? So those are our classic Fibonacci levels. I'm drawing a downward fib to see if there's a potential. So you see where I've drawn my yellow? You see how it coincides with our first PCP level. PCP standing for potential continuation pattern. What pattern do you want to continue? There's a potential to continue a downside pattern. That's where price is right now. I would love for dollar to be strong long term, for us to get back here. But for that to happen, I need the CAD to be weak. For the CAD to be weak, I need oil to fully retrace. Moving pieces, right? So I've got a story here of price. So if oil can retrace and the dollar, you know, we get some serious, terrible news today. I'm not hoping the worst for Canada. I'm saying if that's what the banks want to do, right? If that's the policy outlook that they want to give, if the governor's statement says the same thing, it's not what I want to happen, it's what I want to see based on what they want. It's their economy. They're doing this to themselves, right? And it's not because when a currency is weak, it's bad, right? These guys have import, export stuff. Currency exchange rate is all about geopolitics, you know, economic stabilization. So anything is a go here, right? But if we can get a situation where there's a strong dollar, weak CAD, and oil retracing further to the downside, then maybe we can get a push to sell here. But if we don't get that, right? If markets don't give us that, let me just remove everything. Markets don't give us everything that I've just said right now, then we have to look at what we have. According to the Fibonacci, we are primed for a continuation pattern to the downside. According to the Fibonacci, we are primed for a continuation pattern to the downside, right? So I'm not going to ignore that about my fib. I see my next appointment is already looking for me on Zoom. Right, I thought it was going to be like a 10-minute video, guys, but let's finish, right? This is important information, I think, right? So this is what's going to happen here. I drop to the weekly time frame. I'm starting to see some sell activities. You can see that price rallied in and then dropped like crazy, right? You can see that there, right? And then price did arrive. So let's just draw another level here like this. Right, and let's remove this monthly supply there. We know there's a monthly supply. Just look, let's see what is going on the weekly. On the weekly time frame of something like that, I know they're going to be there's a temptation to draw a trend line like this for as a retail trader and you know, make some base assumption here, which is fine. Just remember the imbalance rule is not met, right? Remember, I don't see it, right? There's just barely a candle and markets make contact with the real supply. So just remember that. Right, so anything can happen, right? Yes, we're feeling this week here, and today is what, Wednesday. This candlestick is already looking full. We could see price pushed down, right? It is a high possibility. All again simply based on what's going to happen today, right? All based on what is simply going to happen today. So this is what it looks like on this is the area that we're looking at on the weekly time frame here. It's the first time prices arriving. We had a touch, price dropped, price has come back to retest at another bearish engulfing candle, right? This is a possibility, all right? We'll see. Don't trade. First, find out what they want to do. Don't be those retail traders who like to trade the news the moment. See where the pullbacks are, and then comfortably the next day, the next week, whatever, join them. right? It's that simple, right? There's no need for you to put your capital at risk, right? But there's a potential place to stop somewhere here. There's another potential place to stop somewhere. But if these two areas get removed on the daily, then we're looking for a proper drop. We really are looking at a proper drop. So that's one particular outlook. I don't see a bullish setup, right? So they might, dollar might be weak, right? We saw dollar leaving a daily supply, and then CAD might be strong, right? And so what would happen today is they'll simply just remove the supply, right? So markets might push up to the upside and break it, or at least on the daily time frame, break a daily supply, right? So that's a possibility. I'm not disputing that, but I don't see a buy set up here. So because of that, I wait to see if they remove a supply. We know they will need to retrace, right? As you break market structure, you must retrace. Then you'll start to see if there's your candle, your imbalance will is met here, and then maybe we can join to the upside if they're going up, right? So we'll see what they do with USDCAD. Have a look at the charts tomorrow. Let markets play around today. NZDCAD. Now I'm regretting putting all the pairs I was going to do in the video because of time. I'm like, why did I promise to do all these pairs, right? But a promise is a promise. Let me just quickly finish. Right, so NZDCAD is in front of us here. Right, guys, so I'm not going to spend too much time repeating the thesis, right? You can see markets here. This is a risk-sensitive asset, so it should look the same as pound USD, AUD USD, Euro USD, etc., etc. All these pairs, the ones that I've just mentioned, all of them have a breaking serious market structure. All of them were risk on during the Trump scandal, Trump elections, right? When Trump didn't want to leave power, this is November, you can see risk on, right? Markets exploded, Biden enthusiasm, blah, 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 blah. Same setup as we saw earlier on. And now markets have returned back to retest, right? Retest this candle, this trend line. Now, I have a problem with just taking buys just because of a basic retest, right? I very much prefer to see, contact in demands. Granted, this demand is this big, it's massive, right? So this could be an easy explanation, but I just can't take it, right? I just cannot take it. So this is one of those pairs that might leave without me because this is a long term. Doesn't matter what happens in the short run. Long term, this thing is going up, right? Long term, NZD, AUD, USD, pound, all of those guys have broken their 10-year structures and they're going up. It's time for them to go up. But let's have a look what's going on the weekly time frame to make sense of why markets turned here. So you can see on the weekly time frame, it was not by magic, right? There's a bullish engulfing pattern, one touch. There we go. So a strong retest is happening. If this doesn't hold, then we might get that monthly demand the way I drew it, right? But the setup here is currently bullish, is trying to leave, right? It's trying to leave. It did make contact with what looks like to be a not so strong supply, and there's a not so strong supply at the top with a not so strong supply there, right? So there's just a couple of, and you guys would know what I mean, right? Class effect, not clean imbalancing, etc., etc. But because prices weight is now, right, we should have bought yesterday, right? This is for me. I never take chances with my money. I should have. I'm not in the trade. There's nothing I can do now, right? So I'll see what happens today, right? Depending on how the CAD goes, this might provide an opportunity. See how it looks on the H4. This is just retail traders. This is retail traders. No, it's not institutions. It's retail traders pumping up. So if you get a retracement, I'll find it very difficult to trust this level because my rules are not met. However, if CAD changes its mind and we get, some CAD strength and this thing goes down a bit and we get some green candles here, I'll then wait for a better retracement, right? That's NZDCAD. The last one on my list was EURCAD, and then I'll do CAD JPY. And unfortunately, because of time, everybody, this is all I can do this morning. I thought let me just do a live because then, when you pre-record and you edit and add intros, it just takes forever, right? This information needs to go out, right? So this is EURCAD. EURCAD, you can already see without doing too much, you can see that, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, right? There's the low, right? So essentially we expect higher highs. This is a weird one, and then price starting to slump here, right? So for the most part, one would make the argument that we are in somewhat of an uptrend, right? Number one. And then you can see when the slumping started, when we stopped creating higher higher highs, and this is a higher low. When the market started to slump, price actually breached that trend line that I just drew. Let's draw the trend line correctly now. Right, this is like literally something that we can just see with our eyes, right? You can see immediately there's a break there, but it doesn't mean the uptrend has been invalidated. The uptrend will be invalidated when markets start to create a lower high. So when we start to see a push here like that, a lower high, lower than the state, then we've got a big problem, right? And then we've got a lower low, a lower low here, lower. This is a high low, just so I don't confuse you, this is a higher low. So when markets close lower, right, and we start to have lower lows here, then we can start to talk about, you know, how this bullish trend is now broken. But outside of just basic structure analysis, let's look at the stuff here. Let's look at what's going on. Broken supply. Just real quick, that's a very, very, look at this beautiful supply. Look at it work here. It worked in 2014, dropped price all the way for a year. Then markets did what? Took profits. Why did markets take profits? 365 traders. You know why? Because they were done and markets arrived at a demand. Then markets pushed back up and then broke the supply. Supply is too good. So look at a hold the ground. Look at a hold. It's broken, but look at a hold, right? So there's a broken, very, 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 experienced supply here. But on top of it is a bearish engulfing candle, right? So one could do this. So after they removed this supply, if you look left, they're still waiting for you, right? So now it makes sense, right? Why price touched this new supply. You guys are with me. You guys are smart. You can see the stuff. There's supply one there, right? And then there's this supply in charge there at first. This supply in charge at first is broken. This is the only supply in the game right now, holding price down. And you can see markets have been failing to penetrate it. So price is leaving a supply. EURCAD price is leaving a supply. Do not be fooled. It left a supply. Price is potentially has arrived at a demand. Potentially has arrived at a demand. Why is that a demand? Supply and demand number 5, 10 in points. But do we like it? 1, 2, 3. It's not nice. It's not clean. I don't like it, right? I'd prefer a very clean area of value where you can see dumb traders, short imbalance and markets rallying. I would prefer this than this, right? So this could be a reaction to this weak demand. This also could be a PCP for the downside, but more MTA would assist. More MTA would assist. More MTA would assist. Can you check? I have to go, Samuel. Stop giving me trades. I have to go. Right. So I'll have a look there. I got triggered in euro pound. There's not much to say. I'm in a buy and markets are sinking lower and lower. So I'm just going to wait for that. But I am active on euro pound. I'll quickly take to my live screen. Actually, it's the only chart moving right now for me. So I can quickly have a look there. This is the weekly time frame, right? That's the explosion. So you can see there on the monthly, like I said, I'm not ready to buy, because if you start to do your MTA, you can see there's still a long way to go down. There's a long way to go down on this chart. It looks ready to buy on the governor, but it's not. There's still 300 and something pips to go down. Hence I said it looks like a PCP to the downside that left this bearish engulfing pattern. So EURCAD is still a sell setup on the daily time frame. Right, there's this ugly range. Price spiked up for the last 3 days, has been dropping. So it's really up to what CAD wants to do today. It's really what CAD wants to do today. But I don't think this is one of those markets. Oh my goodness gracious, will you marry me? Look at this demand. Woo! I want to buy here. 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 I don't care. I don't care what's going on. I don't care. I don't care. This is too low. Come on, man. Let's quickly find what's going on here on the weekly now. I didn't want to trade this chart, but why would you ignore that? You have to be crazy to ignore that. All right. So it's that weekly area that I did not like. It did engulf. It did engulf though. It did engulf. It did engulf. Oh, it kinda engulfed. Yeah, no, it did. Look, it did engulf. Guys, no, let's do it. I'm buying here. I'm not interested in the sell setup on EURCAD. I am definitely interested in this buy here. So EURCAD, I'll be looking to buy there. So let's hope for a push to the downside today. If not today, whenever it comes, I'm going to be putting some pending orders down there so I don't forget. So that's EURCAD done. Right, CAD CAD JPY, I am out of this trade. I am out of this trade on CAD JPY. It's been a long run, man. We ran with CAD JPY. Let's find a chart without notes. My partner is going to kill me. We are supposed to be zooming someone. Right, so prices are right to see. You remember when I said oil was running like crazy and CAD was running like crazy, right? This is what you should have been in, right? So CAD JPY was extremely bullish, but now we've arrived at an area of value where supply exceeds demand and it is dropping. On our governor, it has to drop for a while. On our governor, it has to drop. I mean, you could draw a fib and maybe catch a retracement, right? And see where the retracement will leave you. So it's where my white lines are, right? So I clearly already did that on the chart. So somewhere here's my golden ratio, right? Price is reacting to some short-term demands, I'm sure, over there, right? There it is there. And this demand is try to push price up, but then prices, gave us a good reaction, but I'm sure this week will be filled, right? I don't see price, going back up anytime soon. Or today could be the, like CAD is strong, blah, 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 because CAD is looking very strong right now. CAD is looking strong once again because of oil, right? But we are leaving a governing supply. So generally speaking, we never want to go against that. Then the second, inside this area of value where markets are reacting to right now, we can see that there's a deeper demand that's not yet been triggered inside there. Okay, that's happening. That's a potential, right, setup. I don't think I'll be in that trade. I mean, it'll depend. I'll see what happens today. So after we get what's going on today, I will then think about it, right? But this area of value here is still intact, right? This is a supply. Don't mess with supplies that are still intact, right? The bears have not even begun to finish, their sell orders. And again, remember, the hypothesis is we want oil to retrace. When we get oil to retrace, we want CAD to remain a little bit weak, right? So we can get better buy setups, right? But this will be a nice buy down here. I don't know if I'll get it, but it'll be a beautiful setup. Finally, Mr. Samuel wants to talk to me about, so let me just share my live account because it's the only screen, it's the only thing that's ticking right now on pound, euro pound. Yeah. So euro pound, and maybe, these MT5, MT4 platforms, they're not user friendly. So I might have to come do the analysis for you on TradeView. But as you can see, if I go on the daily time frame, right, I've been waiting for this for a very long time. Markets have finally arrived. We spoke about this in several videos. Why does it look like I'm buying too high now? Oh, all right. So here's problem one with euro pound. There's a beautiful, daily setup down here, right? Daily setup number one, right? This is one. This is really, really good. This is really, it's a good one, right? Which is not where I am. I hate this. Guys, do you mind if we just do this on TradeView? But anyways, I'm inside this one right now. It's the first one, right? And I'm hoping this compression has knocked out all the supplies, and I'm hoping price will trigger. As you can see on the lower time frames, H4, my first buy has been triggered. It's currently negative, and H1, it must be sinking deeper because I know there's an H4 fresh touch as well. There, I've got another pending order here on the H4 area of value, but it's going to be a struggle on these slow platforms. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to take forever. Let me just quickly show you the stuff on. Okay, there we go. So you can see, I know it's probably not nice. I'm pretty sure you guys can't see properly. But down here, there's an H4 demand that I'm targeting. So I am hoping for a further drop, within line with this channel, right? I've been triggered once, I've been triggered twice, and I'm just going to hold and then get hit later. Actually, my stop loss is actually quite far. My stop loss is actually quite far because if I'm wrong about this level, there is a stronger, lower daily demand down there. So I don't want to, take unnecessary pain in this particular chart. But if this works out, guys, it's a beautiful swing to the upside, right? All these, because there's no supply in here. Markets have completely compressed all the supplies in there. People are being faked out here. This was NFP. People have got faked out here, which was FOMC. I told them not to buy. If you buy these fake outs, you get into trouble. Just be patient for the setup, which is what I've been waiting for. But just in case it is not clear, 365, I'm about to go. Please don't forget to like this video. Please don't forget to share and subscribe. I appreciate you guys' time. But this is Euro Pound on just on a better outlook, right? But this is the only chart that I'm in right now. at least on this account, right? On my hedge accounts, I am selling the dollar, but this particular broker only does currencies, so I can't even sell DXY. On that one, we were on USD JPY, by the way, yesterday, up until CPI, right? So CPI kicked us out because there was a strong dollar, so that sell came short, right? But this is what you're looking at there on my live account. It looks like this. So markets are compressing, and in here is an H4 buy and a daily buy. So my daily trigger, my daily buy has been triggered, and now personally, as a swing trader, I don't care if I'm negative for 3 days. I don't care, right? As long as you come trigger me here on H4, and then we start to go up together, right? And then my stop losses are there for protection. But just so you see what I'm saying, on the daily time frame, how annoying, right, to get an even, sexier area of value, right? Look at this here, down there, right? So there's another demand down there, but I'm hoping that this becomes, a higher low, right? So it will protect itself and not break through, and then we push the upside, 253 pips for grab. And then if we're wrong about this area, we'll take a ding, then I'll try and buy again here. It's that simple. Right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I do appreciate you. Thank you for watching the videos. If you're watching the video after the live, please don't forget to like it. Yeah, and then there's so many stuff. The only 12 videos on our channel. Our channel is still new, man, but there's a lot of fundamental work in this video. Watch it. Weekly analysis that we just did together on Sunday as a family. Watch that. But yeah, guys, see you on the other side. I thank you for your time. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, everyone. Please say, don't forget CAD. I just did CAD JPY. I just did CAD JPY. Or am I only seeing the comment now, right? So maybe I'm only seeing the comment now. And I don't think you wrote that now. CAD JPY. Mr. Cleaner, just confirm if you saw me do CAD JPY. This was CAD JPY right now. I'm just waiting for you to confirm there, buddy. Did you see me do CAD JPY? Am I seeing? You also triggered there for a buy, Samuel. Hey, good luck to us, man. Good luck to us. Mr. Cleaner, this was CAD JPY. We looked at CAD JPY. Do you remember this? Or maybe I'm only seeing it late, right? So maybe I'm only seeing your comment late, but I just did CAD JPY. It was the second last chart I analyzed. So maybe you could do like a replay or just rewind the live to 10 minutes ago where I was speaking about CAD JPY, right? But it is leaving a monthly supply. There are some people trying to buy it down there. I'm staying away from that buy until I know the trajectory of CAD and oil. All right. So if oil is retracing, CAD will weaken. If CAD is weakening, I want to buy it down here. But if oil goes up and CAD wants to go up, then we'll have to wait for it to remove the supply. All right. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you. Please do not forget to like this video if it helped you, only if it helped you, right? Only if it helped you, right? So I know how many people it's helping. Guys, thank you so much. Cheers, everybody. Have a good week, traders. Trade safe. Do not forget to use stop losses and risk management, please. Cheers, guys. Goodbye.